Gabriel is 5 years older than Mikhail, so Gabriel means an equal sign. Okay, so Gabriel is Mikhail's age plus 5, because he's 5 years older. The sum means add, so when we add their ages, we get 83. What is Mikhail's age? So I want you to notice that the g is by itself in the first equation, so we can actually take whatever it equals and replace it for g in the second equation. So instead of g in the second equation, I'm going to write down what g is, m plus 5. Now the rest of that equation just gets written down. So I have two m's. I have a positive 5 equaling 83. So the first thing in solving this is we want to get the m by itself. So you've got to get rid of the positive 5 first. So you do the opposite. We're going to subtract 5 from both sides. The 2m comes down. Opposites cancel. 83 take away 5 is 78. This is stuck together, so that means times. 2 times m. The opposite of times is divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Top cancels with bottom. 78 divided by 2 is 39. So Mikhail is 39 years old. A local hamburger shop sold a combined total, that means you add them together, of hamburgers and cheeseburgers on Wednesday. So we have hamburgers plus cheeseburgers, and their total is 564. There were 64 more cheeseburgers sold than hamburgers. So the cheeseburgers is whatever the hamburgers were plus 64. In that sentence, the 64 has to go with whatever you have less of, because that way it makes it balance out. How many hamburgers were sold on Wednesday? So in the second equation, we know what C is. So I'm going to rewrite the first equation, but I'm going to replace the C with what it is, h plus 64. So just starting to write the first equation, I've got h plus, and then instead of C, I'm going to write h plus 64. Everything else gets written down just like it is. So I have two h's. I have 64 equaling 564. The opposite of positive 64 is negative 64, so I'm going to subtract out 64 from both sides. Bring down the 2h, opposites cancel, bring down the equal. 564 take away 64 is 500. Divide both sides by 2, because the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. Top cancels with bottom, and 500 divided by 2 is 250. So that's the hamburgers, because that was h that we were solving for. So, 250 hamburgers. The next one, a garden table and a bench cost $1,000 combined. So we have a table and we have a bench, and their combined total is $1,000. The cost of the garden table is, there's the equal sign, so the table is 3 times the cost of the bench. Well, when you're talking about times, you just stick the number to the letter, like that. Okay, so I'm going to write the top equation, but instead of a t, I'm going to put what t is, which is 3b. So 3b plus this b by itself, I'm going to call it a 1b, because that's what it is. Anytime you don't have a number in front of a letter, it's assumed to be a 1. So my total b's, I've got 3 b's here, 1 b here. That's a total of 4 b's equals 1,000. This is 4 times b. The opposite of times is divide. So I divide both sides by 4. Top cancels with bottom. 1,000 divided by 4 is 250. And because that's b, the bench is $250, because we're talking about money in this problem.